Before we start the show, I want to tell you about the sponsor of this episode, Play to Z. They are releasing an updated version of Ascending Empires. This is a 4X game that can be played in under 2 hours, but Tony, it has a dexterity element to it as you flick little disc across the table.
You are the last survivors of a human race, fleeing to a new galaxy in fear of annihilation at the hands of an unstoppable foe. But when you discover the ruins of a long-dead civilization, which is never a good thing in my opinion.
No, it's not.
Things start to change. An arms race begins, new technologies arise on ancient relics, all with one goal, ensuring that humanity once again will ascend to the stars.
You're going to flick your ships across the galaxy to discover and explore new planets, build outposts, cities, research facilities, and even star bases. And with this updated version, there's extra modules, a new neoprene mat, and some upgraded plastic miniatures. If you want to find out about this game, head over to playtozgames.com. Check out this game, Ascending Empires, and all their other games, and you can get 15% off of your order with code POD.
Papa, Oscar, Delta, POD.
For 15% off Ascending Empires and any other game in their catalog. And now, on with the show.
Acura's all-new ADX, a compact SUV that isn't just built for one thing, it's precision crafted for everything. To escape the grind with available all-wheel drive. To go with your flow with available Google built-in.
Hey Google, turn it up.
Okay, turning up the volume. And crafted to be heard with an available Bang & Olufsen premium sound system. The all-new Acura ADX, crafted to match your energy. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Take your vibes and go, 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 go.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC.
Hey y'all, it's time for Rolling Dice and Taking Names. In this episode, the guys discuss a couple Euro dice games, including Nova Era and Bebop. Also, they review Top Tier and Architects of Amytis. Do you like orange sickles? If so, let's hear what the guys think of orange cream Coke in taste buds. Amytis? Amytis?
Oh, we totally butchered the name of the show. At least you got close to it. Hello and welcome to Rolling Dice and Taking Names. This is episode 347. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm Marty.
I'm Tony.
Have we just exhausted all songs that we know and you're just randomly grabbing songs now? We have a large catalog of songs that we've known over our past 50 plus years of existence.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Can't we just pick something that we know from our own libraries?
I understand that. Now, this is about Johnny Mathis, who just announced that this was his last year of tours.
Johnny Mathis is still alive?
Ding! That's why I did this. That's exactly why I did this.
No, that's not why you did this.
No, I wanted to see your reaction because when I heard Johnny Mathis is still on tour.
What?
Yeah.
So he was born in 1935.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. That makes him 90 years old.
I'm telling you, Johnny Mathis is retiring from touring after almost 70 years of crooning. 70 years. Johnny Mathis, a pop music singer, one of the best singing artists, is finishing. Known for his velvet voice and the songs It's Not For Me to Say and Wonderful, Wonderful, the title of this episode. And also, I mean, we're going to be talking a lot about Dice Euros, and I love my dice games. So it's wonderful. Mm-hmm, it's wonderful. Mm-hmm. And every time I hear this, I also think of, Lawrence Welk, Wonderful, Wonderful, or however he used to say it. Did you have to watch that growing up?
Yeah, my gosh, yes, we did. It was either right before or right after Hee Haw.
Yes.
On Saturday night. And yes, we had to watch both.
Yeah, sitting at Grandma's house. Yeah, it was time. It was time because Grandma was babysitting us because parents were out. So it was Hee Haw and Lawrence Welk.
Yep.
I just thought it was interesting. Yeah, when I was reading that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. And then when I'm sitting here trying to think of a song, I'm like, I wonder if this is going to blow somebody's mind when I talk about this.
So question for y'all. Those of those who are listening or still listening right now to this riveting introduction, did that blow your mind?
Didn't mind.
Let us know in Discord. Was that mind-blowing? Was that piece of trivia totally mind-blowing that you're going to sit there and talk about it at your next dinner table? When you say, kids, guess what? Old Johnny Mathis is retiring this year. And kids go, who?
No, what's going to be on Discord and what they're going to talk about is what they had to watch while they're at Grandma's getting babysat.
Okay, that's a good one. Come out to our Discord channel. Did you have to put up with Lawrence Welk and Hee Haw? Now, I was okay with some of Hee Haw because there were some very attractive women wearing some really tight shorts and some low-cut shirts in that show.
Oh, I just found it. I just enjoyed Roy and Buck Owen. You know, oh my gosh, I just enjoyed the music. I really did.
Okay,
I really did because
from the Grand Ole Opry.
And I watched that show recently. The what was the Grand Ole Opry show that was just on? I think they were celebrating so many years.
Oh,
that was, and I did not know Post Malone. We're watching it.
Yeah,
I thought Post Malone was a rapper.
Post Malone is one of those that does a lot of different style of music. Is he doing country now?
Yes, he is. He was there.
Like everybody else, like Beyonce and everybody, right?
Yeah. And my wife looks at me, she goes, are all his teeth metal? And I go, hey, it's a thing. I don't know. I don't understand it. He's got him a grill, I guess. I don't understand it either. But I was like, holy cow. It's like Ronnie Millsap was on there. And I was like, Ronnie Millsap's still alive? That's how old we are when we start seeing people that we knew as kids and we go, they're still alive?
Geesh, that's crazy.
That is crazy. And Randy Travis was there. I knew Randy was still alive.
Randy Travis from Union County, North Carolina. Went to Forest Hills. His last name's Trawick, and I knew some of his cousins.
Okay, there you go. See, we're tying it all back in, and they got rid of the Randy Travis sign outside of Marshall and put a big mural up on the side of a building.
Yeah. Well, it's like people drive through and go, who?
Who?
He hasn't exactly been relevant recently.
He has not. But so have there been any games that have been relevant?
Nice segue right there. So, all right. So y'all know I'm a big fan of Arkham Horror, the LCG. The most recent one's Drowned City. Like it just came out. But me and my friend have been playing Feast of Hemlock Vale, which was the set from last year. Now, when I covered the previous set, Scarlet Keys, I wasn't that crazy about the set. It was kind of an open world, but it was just too open world and too crazy. This one is a little bit more constrained, but still has an open world feel to it. You're on an island and you have choices of where you want to go. You're eventually going to go to most places, but you're like given the option, do you want to go here, 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 which I like. It's not really on the rails so much. You do get some choices as you go. Now, typically the Arkham Horror campaigns are very much on rails. You're going to go here, to go to here, to go to here. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I will say we went into a mine and did a scenario in there that involved mine carts that had one of the coolest maps I have ever seen. Because, you know, they use cards for maps. But there was a concept in here that you're in a mine cart in a mine. And basically, there are switches in the mine that you use to switch tracks. Mm-hmm. So you need to activate switches to get to different parts of the map. It was really, really cool. And one of the most innovative maps I've seen. It became like a puzzle. So yeah, we're having to deal with the normal stuff, but we're sitting there going, wait a minute. So we need to move this over here to get this over here, to get that over there, to get over there, to get to the exit sort of deal. Mm-hmm. It was just really clever.
Okay. Oh, I mean, I like that. Adding a little something to the game, you know, get it off the rails per se. You know? Yes, yeah. I like that. Well, good.
Of course, the whole time I'm playing it, I'm sitting there thinking of Raiders of the Lost Ark. So, not Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom.
You remember the whole minecart scene where they're going along and they're shooting the switches to switch the tracks and everything? Mm-hmm. That's what it reminded me of, because you're kind of doing that here.
Like that's possible.
So really clever. I'm not going to spoil any more of them. I will say that's one of the coolest maps I've seen. So once again, I'm really enjoying it more so than the Scarlet Keys right now. Mm-hmm. I think it's a really interesting story. So we'll play through this, and then we're going to get to Drowned City. But yeah, Arkham Horror LCG. It's still tops for me. Still enjoying it. We probably play about once a month now, trying to get through one scenario every time we sit down. So good stuff.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you keep playing it. I mean, since we didn't get to play this past week, man, it's been a while since I got to play a game.
I know. Yeah, it's been kind of topsy-turvy of stuff going on in our lives around here. We should get together this week, I hope, because we have a game we're going to cover in this episode that we'll get together after we record this to record that segment, because our theme for this episode is dice-driven Euro games. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to be talking about two games that have dice in them, which I've become a fan of. Used to, I've said this many times before, dice in Euros, nope, too random. And then I played Droenza El Magnifico and really saw a clever way of like, oh, this is really good. And now we've played a lot of games over the years where dice is just, Coimbra was another one soon after that we really enjoyed how they use dice and everything. So it's really interesting to see how people can use the randomness of dice in really clever ways to still feel very strategic.
Yes. And we'll, as you said, we'll talk about it, talk about some of the things we like, some of the things we didn't like, because, after 12 years, we know what our tastes are. We know what it is. It's going to make us happy with a game, and I'm not as grumpy as I used to be.
I will say, they'll go, Marty, did you never play Castles of Burgundy? I did play Castles of Burgundy, which is also another solid dice-driven game.
I think I got rid of that.
You know what? I still have it. It was like a revised version, not the super mega version with all the plastic pieces, but the one before. I still have it in shrink, and it's one of those I probably won't get rid of because I think that's one of those that eventually I will pull out in an old retirement home. It's like, hey, I remember this old game, and it's still easy to teach, kind of understand.
You're not going to play it in a retirement home. You'll be playing solo games by yourself because no one else is going to be able to remember the rules 5 minutes later.
I don't do solo games either, so I guess I'll be playing video games.
You'll be playing video games. That's right.
Speaking of video games.
Yeah, speaking of those.
I put a link in our show notes about an announcement from Archon Studio, who has gotten the rights to Starcraft, the old Blizzard video game that we used to play, and they're going to be coming out in 2026 with the tabletop miniatures game, followed by board games in 2027. And I immediately saw that. And of course, you know what I immediately thought back to?
The original Starcraft.
It won't be that board game.
No.
But still, I'm like, ooh, Tony and I sitting down and playing a Starcraft minis game. He could bring out some Zerg. I could bring out some Protoss.
That's right.
Sounds kind of intriguing to me.
That is. And I mean, it's one of those things that I'm like, okay, you don't have that many, I don't want to say factions. It's characters,
races.
Well, I mean,
is that what you mean?
Well, the 3 races, but in each race, there's not like there's 400 type of units. There we go, units. I mean, when you think about the Protoss or what was it, the Marines or Terrans, you got your flamethrower guys, you got your tank guys, Firebats. Yeah, ready to go, sir. That's the tank. And then it'll be interesting to see how they do all the ships.
So that's the really interesting part to me, because typically miniature games are like either air-based or ground-based, but StarCraft is notorious for having flying units and ground units. So how do you balance between those two? It'll be super interesting.
And then how do you incorporate the various, like on the Zerg, you had to turn in, to get a Hydralisk or whatever. If I remember correctly, there had to be mutations or something that would allow you to do that. If I remember correctly, it's been forever since I played StarCraft.
So I didn't think about that. I was just thinking, I'm just going to put a Hydralisk and Zerglings on the board. But wouldn't it be interesting if they had some sort of tech tree?
Yeah.
To where you start small and you turn them into bigger units. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. I can't remember if they mutated. There was something that would happen on it other than spreading the green stuff on the ground.
Creep.
The purple stuff.
Creep.
Huh?
Creep.
The creep. Oh, I forgot obviously I forgot the name of the creep. That was so cool. How are they going to control resources too?
So again, how close are they going to try to make this like the video game? Wow, you've brought up points I hadn't even thought about. Will there be resource management? I guess I was just immediately thinking, I'm going to build I was thinking 40K with StarCraft units. I'm going to build a 1,000-point army. Here they are. Let's fight. But will they try to implement some of the real-time elements of resource management? And you don't get to start out with the siege tank. No. You have to take a little time before you can even bring a siege tank onto the map because you have to develop the tech to even create it.
Right. You got to build the building that produces the siege tank. Now, I doubt it'll be that complicated. Maybe the board game. It'll be point space. I think you're absolutely right. I think they'll go with point space. If you want to put in a whole bunch of ghost out there, then a ghost is worth this.
Right.
And if you want to nuke somebody, then maybe you'll have to research the nuke capability of the ghost. I don't know. It'll be interesting. We'll watch it.
Well, hold on. Let me just read this paragraph here. The StarCraft tabletop miniature game will allow players to command their favorite factions in a dynamic tactical battle, staying true to the fast-paced and strategic essence of the beloved RTS game.
That's just a lot of words saying, don't worry, we're going to do something with the RTS game.
But jumping to the next year, I know there's no way they'll get it, but honestly, I wish they would get the rights to the original FFG game and literally just reprint that with the tweaks that were made in Forbidden Stars. Bring those in to where, remember, Forbidden Stars was round based and we shortened the time. Add some of those elements to the board game, but I would be loving life. But honestly, whatever board game they come out with, it's going to be hard to top that original. But
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, I never played the Gears of War game that came out that's based on it. I heard that was a good implementation. So any type of video game, board game that has a good implementation, yeah, I will definitely take a look at it. Definitely play it. I mean, it's Starcraft. Why would I not play it? Right now, I'm not going. Now, I'm not going to spend like $300-$400 on miniatures. I'm just that is outside my realm of miniatures right now. I think back to when we would do Privateer Press, and those miniatures were they were $60-$70 type stuff, and I'm just like,
sure. Again, this will be a lifestyle game. If this is what you're playing a lot of, $300 for miniatures is a lot cheaper than a year's worth of buying new board games.
Then play your old board games. But yes, I agree with you.
People say, miniatures are too expensive. I totally get that. But you got to understand the people who are playing miniatures games are playing these same miniatures. Mm-hmm. I got to be careful how I say this. For years, and they'll immediately go, well, Marty, Games Workshop keeps cutting miniatures and adding new miniatures. Okay, let's not talk about Games Workshop. I understand that. But typically, you're going to get a lot of mileage out of that miniature that you've had for years.
Absolutely. So. And it'll be interesting. I mean, as with any of these, you're going to have some type of organized play, right?
That's the only way I'll succeed.
Yeah. It's not going to be like a local pickup and show up at Qdoba's or something.
No, definitely not. So I have signed up for the newsletter, and we'll just keep up with that. See what comes out. I mean, if it's going to be releasing next year, I assume probably by the end of the year, they will start giving us some details on hopefully gameplay. That's what I'm most interested in is gameplay.
Right. Me too. I want to see how they implement the RTS style. Now, there's a game that there's been games out like disc golf board games. People takes various sports and they kind of bring them into a board game. One of them that I know is, we all know this. It's pickleball. It is taking over the country. It's been around for a very long time. Matter of fact, today when we got home from playing, Don and I practicing, because we got to get ready for playing against my daughter and my son-in-law because they want to beat us. Now, my elbow's hurting a little bit. I've got a little pickleball elbow going on. Even after we were playing, I don't know what I was doing wrong, but, and it was just so much fun playing pickleball today when the ball would hit the court and up a little yellow poof of clouds would come up from the pollen. It was easy to see if the ball was in or out. We have such pollen issues right now here in North Carolina that everything is yellow, and it's just like, oh man, it's killing the sinuses. But we were watching it Donna was flipping around, and it may have been on ESPN, and they had the PP Pickleball. I keep thinking of Putt-Putt Association, but the Pickleball Pros on. That's ridiculous. All it is slapping the ball at each other right near the net. I can't wait. I'm going to get you out.
Take me out to play sometime because I've never played.
I will. I mean, it's simple rules, simple strategy. You'll do really well with tennis that you played. You've always enjoyed that. We'll have to find us a court that's halfway between us, and we'll play us some pickleball.
I would absolutely love to. Speaking of disc golf, I did go out and play disc golf for the first time.
Oh, good.
Last week. I had a good time. Took the boys out there. So I've never seen this before. I guess there was one disc that Travis is using that was pretty old. He lets one rip, and it wasn't a very good shot. Went right into a tree and shattered into like 40 pieces.
Oh, that's cool.
Went, whoa, I have never seen that before. That was some brittle plastic right there, baby.
I like that. Wow. That's an old one. I mean, I need to find mine. Mine are probably that brittle. I haven't played in so long. Man.
Yeah.
That's just it. We can go play by a park near you that's off of South Boulevard. We're 521. I forget.
Elon Park.
Elon. They got a disc golf and they got pickleball courts now.
Oh, they got pickleball.
Yeah.
Is it just do you have to sign up or you can just go play?
I think you can just go play, or if people are there, you put your little paddle in a paddle holder and you rotate in or something. I don't know how this goes.
Oh, I am up for either one of those. I would like to try. I do like tennis, so I'd like to try pickleball sometime. And of course, I'd always love to play some more disc golf. It's funny. I started watching. You should never watch a video of anything because you then get recommended constantly. Mm-hmm. So I was watching videos on how to increase my distance throwing. And then all I'm shown now is like, oh, here's somebody throwing 400 feet. And you watch people and it's like, how is this humanly possible to throw this far? It's insane.
If I were to take that run up that they take, and I've seen some of these, I would be falling over off the tee box. It would not be pretty. I'm telling you, man.
Geez.
Oh, and I forgot to ask you this. I know in our last episode when you released it, how painful was it to edit out my coughs?
Not.
Okay, good.
I did leave one in at the very beginning just to show there was a cough and that it was kind of to show the point that they were there. No, it wasn't bad, but now you know where the mute button is. You'll know from now on.
I forgot, but I think it's up there at the top. I just pressed that little button right there. I'm done.
Hey, guess what? One of our friends, Bert, said, "Hey, have you guys tried a new drink?" And he showed it to us and went, "Bert, we have not. Now we have a new segment of Taste Buds."
Taste buds. Taste buds. Taste buds. Two incredible stuff. Taste buds. Two incredible stuff. Taste buds. They're just a bunch of.
What we got here, Tony?
We have Coca-Cola, orange cream, and I hope it's just not like Spice and Dream or whatever else they did, where it was nothing but vanilla. They all tasted the same to me. So I'm really hoping that this is a creamsicle with Coke.
Vanessa happened to run across zero sugar, so I'm holding a zero sugar in my hand.
Where'd she find that?
She goes to Food Lion, Harris Teeter, Walmart, and she just basically goes down the drink aisle looking for something interesting. In fact, she had one. It's a new Pepsi cherry something. And I said, yes, great. Thank you. I'll take one to Tony. And the whole family drunk them all. So I need to have her go get another box.
Okay. Well, good for the family to do that. I mean, Harris Teeter keeps the same ones on the shelves always. So I'll have to. Oh yeah. The Dr. Pepper Blackberry that we did last time. Gone.
Yeah.
It's out.
Yeah.
Can't find
it's
it.
Good.
It's good.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
It's good.
All right. I'm ready for this.
All right. Let's pop open orange cream Coca-Cola. Do you get an orange sickle smell from the effervescence?
No, I'm getting that stupid vanilla taste again.
I'm getting a hint of orange.
Yeah, nothing powerful. Here we go. It tastes like the other ones.
Tastes vanilla.
They are just repurposing the same thing and sticking it on new cans. We have a conspiracy here. I taste nothing but vanilla. I do not taste orange sickle.
Maybe a slight hint of orange. Maybe so slight.
Maybe.
But I'm expecting like a very strong push-up type taste.
Mm-hmm. Oh, push-ups. Oh, push-ups are so good.
And I hadn't had one of those in probably decades.
I get for dessert if I want ice cream or Donna wants ice cream, I always buy the Mayfield orange creamsicles. They have to be on sale, of course. I don't buy anything unless it's on sale. Yep. Nope.
No. I mean,
Mm-mm.
I'm probably going to finish this. But this, I told Vanessa, do not buy another box of this. So, we got 2 thumbs down on the orange cream Coke Zero. I think if you've had any of their cream sodas, this tastes like that.
Yeah, it tastes exactly like all that other. I forget all the flavors they were doing. Rainbow Spice or unicorn. I don't remember.
Maybe there's a slight orange, but not much. Okay, so what I've been craving ice cream wise is an ice cream sandwich.
Okay.
I want an ice cream sandwich so bad. And I've yet to go out and get one. I'm just going to have to break down and do it because I love ice cream sandwiches.
I do too, especially Neapolitans.
I just like classic vanilla ice cream.
No ice cream. Oh, I love
Neapolitans are good.
Neapolitans. Yeah. I always eat strawberry in first.
So let me ask you, which do you like better? A ice cream sandwich or an Eskimo? Is it an Eskimo? Igloo. An igloo with the chocolate covered.
Like a Klondike bar?
My gosh, Klondike bar. Eskimo igloo.
An Eskimo pie.
Klondike bar.
Right. And there's an Eskimo pie.
Yeah, a Klondike pie. Yeah.
A Klondike. Actually, I prefer a ice cream sandwich.
Same here.
Yeah, because I don't want the chocolate to get all in my hands and messy, and I eat them so fast, and then I get an ice cream headache.
The only bad thing about the ice cream sandwich is it starts melting as you take the bite, and the ice cream squishes out the side of the sandwich.
Go back to elementary and middle school days. You'd get the ice cream sandwiches, and we would all
love that,
and we'd all lick this on the edges, and then crush them on the side,
right. Yeah,
to keep it like a little So
There's tricks. Everything goes back to what you did in elementary school.
it does. Everything you need to know in life, you learned in elementary school. Sharing, how to use, not to eat paste, just pointing things out, Kickball, that's a useful skill. I'm just trying to remember. Basic math is a helpful thing to have. Writing your letters. See, well, you could have stopped at 4th grade.
Tales of 4th Grade Nothing, Judy Blume. Love that book.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
You don't Tales of 4th Grade? I loved it.
Okay.
Good book. All right, let's get some reviews.
All right. We know that you can head over to shopportalgames.com and get all those great games. But what you really need to be doing for your entertainment is getting onto the YouTubes and heading over and subscribing to the Portal Games Studio website. And you can watch Ignacy. He's telling you all about all these new games. Here's some of the titles for you, everybody. Ignacy is really disturbed this week. I mean, that's clickbait right there. But he's going to be talking about a new one, Race to Berlin, his first war game. Very, very excited for that.
I was wanting to get a copy of that to play, to preview for him. And he said they only made 4. So he said he only sent it to big war game media content creators.
That's fair.
Because he feels that's going to be the audience. I said, Ignacy, you don't know how popular entry-level war games are becoming for mainstream gamers. He thinks this game is not going to do that great, Tony. I want to prove him wrong. Y'all make sure to check out this game because I like games we played in the past from other companies like Phalanx, like Race to Berlin and stuff. Great historical themed games that feel like a Euro. You'll want to go check out Race to Berlin. Let's prove Ignacy wrong and show that not only board gamers would enjoy this game, but any gamer.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to his shorts, you can see a quick, they're prepping for Race to Berlin. Also, Bohemians has Solo, so if you're interested in any of that information, I mean, he's just released that one the week of March 25th, so you can get out there. Resurgence, he tells you about Resurgence, which we covered here. That's a very well-designed worker placement game with an interesting tech tree. So there's a lot of stuff over there. If you're not, you can go to his website, shopportalgames.com, order up the games. But if you want information about the games and where Ignacy is taking the company, be sure to subscribe to his YouTube, Portal Games at Portal Games Studio.
A brand new game from Simon Games called Nova Era, designed by Andrea Charvesio. This is a Euro game with some dice mechanisms. It's supposed to have like a Civ feel to it, engine building feel, which I believe it does. Now, Tony, when you look at the box, it says 2 to 4 players, 60 minutes. That's a lie.
Or we suck at playing.
There ain't no way. How many times do we have to play to prove you ain't going to get 4 players done in 60 minutes?
No, there's too much AP. Too much A freaking P in advanced planning.
If you remove any types of AP, maybe 60 minutes.
Right.
Because the game itself is easy. You spend a die, you take an action. The problem is well, how do I want to spend this die when it comes my turn?
Yeah. Which cards? Which cards are now available? Oh, did we adjust everything?
Not even that. This has drafting in it.
Right.
A lot of the AP was honestly the drafting portion because you're going to be drafting the dice to use on your turn. Color and value matters. So before you draft, you're literally through your head trying to plan out your entire turn because those 3 dice are going to give you 3 actions. So you're trying to go through the list of actions that you're going to have available to you, which one of those you want to use, which dice would make sense to do that, which values would help you the most, but then you got to help mitigate that because values of the dice you draft are too high. It will have negative effects for you because the higher value die makes things cheaper in the long run. So that's kind of you can't do it every time because it will hurt you in the end.
So there's 8 steps to this game, and as we go through them, you'll get to hear about the various actions that you do from that standpoint. Marty's talking about the unrest, which can lead to civil war. The first step is you get to roll dice, and you get to place 3 of those dice into dice zones.
Randomly, you're going to pull from a bag, 3 dice roll, put them into zones for you to draft from because a player will draft from a zone.
That is the hard choice that you're going to say, okay, because the dice colors matter. They'll help you buy certain things, the cards that are out there. And I just won't say that. And there's, we'll talk about the various cards. So there's your thought process. If I take this dice zone and it's got 2 reds, I don't need reds because I don't want to do that. Or wait, the place where I'm going to buy technology cards, there's no red cards out there. And you're like, oh, how is this going to benefit? Well, now I got to use these dice for something else, which you can do. But is it really necessary? So, the dice they allow you to buy certain technologies and they allow you to get resources. And all that is part of that AP that's going on in your very first action. It's actually step number 2, pick dice. I like that.
Yeah, that takes a little bit of time. And once everybody has drafted a set of 3 dice, there's going to be 3 left over. Now, part's pretty cool. There are 5 different colored disaster tracks on the main board. For every die that wasn't drafted, you're going to move a marker down a disaster track based on the color and the value. So if the green has 3, you'll move it down 3. And if it ever gets to the end of the track or space number 10, that's going to cause a disaster that you have to deal with at the end of your turn. So that's another thing you have to consider, Tony, especially if you're the last person drafting, because you now know whichever dice you don't take could possibly trigger a disaster, which means you now have to plan for during your turn.
Or you may do it because I know that I'm going to be fine if this disaster keys off. So at the end of the round, after everybody's spent all their dice, I see other people, they're going to suffer from this because they have not protected themselves from riots or invasions or whatever that may occur from this disaster.
Right.
You need to plan for that. You want high dice numbers, but then sometimes you really don't want them too high because you want to be able to not have to deal with these disasters. I like this part of the game. I like what that caused us to have to deal with and think through.
There's 4 kind of main technologies you have. There's the green, red, yellow, and blue, and they kind of represent finance, economy, etc. So those are the different color cards that you can buy. But there's also a black die that can be used to buy people, which we'll talk about in a second. But that means there's also a black track. After you check for disasters, you check for Dark Age. If the black die has driven the marker all the way to the end of the track, everybody loses 1 die, and the remaining dice they have are reduced by 1. Their value is reduced by 1. So that's another thing you got to consider doing this whole draft mechanic. And we hadn't even gotten to the main part of the round of spending your dice for action.
All right, we've checked for Dark Ages. All right, so let's go through it all. We've rolled dice. We've picked the dice out of the zone. We've advanced some disasters. If there's any black die, we got to check and we advance it. We got to check for Dark Ages because they're going to hurt us with our dice. Now we get to actually do all the big main actions. We're going to be spending our dice. Now we didn't mention this during the drafting of the dice. We're going to go clockwise. The person who ever rolled, the next person in clockwise order will get to then draft next, and so forth and so on. And during this spending the dice, it reverses direction. Counterclockwise.
So that means the first to draft will be the last to go in a round.
That also produced some AP for us.
100%. Because now you're thinking about that, right? It's like, well, crap. If I'm first to draft, that means I'm going to be last to go. So, what I want to do, even still, let's say you're eyeing a card. So there's a technology set of cards that have been dealt out randomly, and there's 3 eras that you're going to play through. So era 1 cards have been dealt. For 4 players, it's going to be a 6x4 grid, meaning there's going to be 6 columns, 4 rows. Here's one of the rules, and here's where I'm going to have a little bit of an issue when we get to the negatives. You can only get cards at the very bottom on the very last row. Whatever card is available on the last visible or last row is what's going to be available to you in a column. So now it's like, if I'm first to draft, I really want that 1 card right there. But you know that there's going to be, in a 4-player game, 3 people that go before me, which might take that card. And all of a sudden, the dice you drafted doesn't have the same value that I had before, because now you don't get to use it for what you want to use it for.
That's right. Okay. Now we're into spending dice. Now the dice, like I said, and Marty mentioned that we are going to be spending dice because the number of pips equal the amount of resources that dice can contribute to whatever you're buying. I've got 5 little pips on a dice, and a card costs me 5. I get to buy that card from the tableau and develop that technology from the display or from the cards in my hand. Colors matter. So if I want to develop a red card, I got to spend red dice. Let's say the card costs me, my pips are 3 and the card costs me 5. Maybe I have collected some of the resources that can then be offset. Or let's just say I don't have the color of the card I want to develop. I can still spend a die and spend all the resource tokens that I have that equal that. And I can now develop that one. So what you're doing is you are developing your technology that goes into your board, and these cards have the ability to give you some type of instant triggers. Maybe there is some production phase, and some of them may even have objective scoring. It all depends on what's out there. They're all different. And there's a couple other things that are on this card that make them interesting in this game. First off, you're in age 1. Things are kind of normal. You're learning papyrus. The world is beginning. Age 2. Maybe we now got a printing press or something. That is going to make something go obsolete. You don't need this anymore. You're not going to do that. You're going to use the printing press. So if somebody were to play a technology, that now gets rid of a card that gets rid of the papyrus card. I played printing press. Marty has papyrus. Hey, Marty, get rid of that. It's now discarded. Yep. It's just unreal how this impacted some of our turns.
And this is probably one of the negatives, right? Is those obsolescent cards could absolutely destroy you. And here's the thing, y'all. There are a lot of cards from each era. This is great because that means every time you play the game, you're going to see a lot of different mix of different technology cards. Using Tony's example, printing press may not even be out there available. It will not make papyrus obsolete because there's nothing else that could make it obsolete. But what if so happens it is one of the ones put out in the tableau or the draft area of the table to get? Well, now you know you're in danger of having that gone. And when it gone just means it's removed from your tableau and go to your discard pile. And let me tell you, not having developed cards in your 4 technologies is going to be bad in the long run because bad things are going to happen to cards. They're going to get damaged, which will cause them to flip down. These disasters that we talked about earlier, that's what they do. If there's a red disaster, it means you must take a red technology card and put it face down. If you don't have a red technology, you have to take one of your other cards and actually discard it, which is even worse. Mm-hmm. Because a damaged card can be repaired, which is one of the things you can do with your die. Right. You can spend a die to repair 2 of your cards, just basically flip them back up. So buying technology cards and getting them into play is part of the engine building part of the game.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the things for me that I was like, okay, I can obsolete my own stuff and get a victory point, but I'm wiping out some of my production so I could waste a turn, pick up that card so no one else could obsolete it and then protect myself. But that to me just at times it was a hard decision to make. I was like, oh man, I don't want to deal with that. So, and that was just putting a card in play, y'all.
That's putting a card from play, either one you grab from the table or one from your hand. Speaking of, how do you get a card into your hand? You can just spend any die that you want to go and grab a card and put it into your hand. Why do you want to do this? To keep somebody else from getting it, save it for a future turn. Which maybe you don't have the resources right now to do it, but you hope next round that you do. So that's kind of a way to protect yourself from somebody else getting a card, spend a die, put it into your hand.
Another action that you may have is, all right, we talked about the black dice. The black dice give you the ability, every era, there are going to be personalities out. Caesar, Cleopatra, Napoleon, that kind of stuff, depending on what era they're in. You are able to take that black dice, and based on the number of pips, you can then get those individuals. But there are no black resources. So if Napoleon is 5 and your black dice is only 3, you can still draft him. That's okay. You can still take him and put him in your personalities area, but you will pay in unrest on your board for doing that because it was negative. You will have to go up 2 on unrest. And remember, unrest will cause bad things happen to dice and cards if they occur.
Basically, the bad thing is all your dice would be reduced by 1 if it gets to a certain zone in the unrest period.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them, not just one, every single one of them. But Tony, there's a benefit to that. If you have a die of 5 and the card only costs 3, you get to reduce unrest by 2.
There you go. So it behooves you to get a higher value and then pick a leader if it works to your advantage for getting victory points at the end of the game or at the end of that round. Then that's what you'll do. You'll do that. Oh, wait, it's a higher value. What did that do? Oh, that just forced you to go up on unrest when you picked that freaking dice zone. See how this is working, y'all? See what this game is doing to you?
Another thing you can do with your die is just gain resources. Tony talked about having resources available to play if you need to pay the difference in the die that you spend. So if I could spend a green die with the value of 3 and take 3 green resource tokens and put them into my pool. I can do that for every color of the die that's out there, and that's how I offset the cost if the value of my die does not meet the cost of the card.
Mm-mm. And sometimes you're like, well, isn't that a wasted turn? Not if a card's not available for you for that technology. Maybe you want to bank some of those resources for later.
And some of the cards in the third era cost more than 6, so you're going to have to supplement with some resources.
You're going to have to do that. Now, there are cards, of course, that allow you to reduce the cost. Imagine that. Any good technology, tech tree type game are going to do that. The other thing you can do, which is a completely wasted turn, unless you don't have anything else to do with it, reduce unrest by 1 by only using a black dice. Because you're not going to buy a personality. Maybe they're all gone or you don't want them. Then you can just spend a black dice, regardless of the pips, and reduce unrest by 1.
Now, there's another action here called Expand Territory, but it works just like getting a card because territories come out in the second and third era. They're out in the tableau for you to draft from Northern Technologies, except there's a territory space on your board that they would go, and there are requirements. A territory may say, hey, you need 1 green and 2 blue in order to get this one. And if you do, you qualify, you can pay and get that and put it into play. So that's just another type of card that is out there that could potentially give you some in-game scoring, victory points, etc. Again, as part of your engine building part of the game.
Right. And one of the final things I think that the last one we haven't covered is Marty talked about damage cards that could happen during disasters, or some people could do some attacks to you during this game as well. You will have damage cards that are now flipped over in your tableau. Spend a dice to repair 2 damaged cards. Pretty simple, straightforward. It's a good use of a 1 or a dice gives you no benefit at all to what you're trying to do with your game.
So then we're going to check for disasters. Remember that disaster track I talked about? This is where you look at and see if it's advanced all the way to the end of the track. If it does, you must damage 1 technology matching the disaster color. And if you can't, you must put 1 territory or 1 technology of another color into the past, or the past is basically the discard pile. And then, Tony, next thing you mentioned to production. During the production phase, you're going to look over your tableau. Any card that has a gear icon, you just grab those resources.
Pretty simple. If you remember to look for the right production and all the cards that you got. Now we're going to clean this thing up. We're done with part 1 of the round. There's 3 parts to it. And now if you're not at the end of it, pass the first player token, move the round marker, keep going. If it's not a scoring, roll some dice. If it is at the end of a round after the third turn, you will then go in and say, is this the end of the game? Well, guess what? You'll do some final scoring. If not, then you will also be able to start looking at some of those cards where you may be able to get advanced technologies into your hand. If you bought something, there's cards, they will have a term on them, and it is called evolution. And you will be able to pull those into your hand that you'll be able to develop in the next round. These are pretty powerful cards. And they will also make other things go obsolete that you didn't see on the board. So you may be able to, hamper other people's efforts in gaining production.
Yep. And there's actually a little bit of scoring at the end of an era, because you're going to look at any card with a scoring icon, score that. Plus, you're going to get 1 point for every technology color that you developed. And if you have a majority in a technology, you'll gain an additional point.
One thing you don't do is your personalities, they've died. Cleopatra didn't live into era 2. She's dead.
No, she gone.
The ass bit her. So she's gone.
So then you basically, after the end of an era, you wipe all the era cards off the board, deal out the next era, and you're going to continue. So basically, the drafting of dice and spending of dice will occur 9 times, 3 times per era. And then after the final round, you go through that scoring I just talked about with 1 point for every technology you developed and look at majorities and stuff. Plus any in-game scoring, a person with the most points wins.
There you go. That's how you play the game.
Again, the flow of this game is very simple. It has a fantastic flow chart on the back. It makes sense. You can teach this game quick. But there is going to be some AP when you're staring at those cards and what do I get? And this is one of the negatives I have about the game. Remember when I said that you can only take technologies that are on the very bottom row or the very bottom of each column? Let's say it like that. The last card at the bottom of each column. If I don't need any of those, then what do I do with this die that I drafted because somebody else got the card before me? I wish there was some way. Well, as a side note, there are some personalities and a couple cards that say buy a card from anywhere in the table. Mm-hmm. Those exist, but they're few and far between. I almost wish it would let me take any card in a row, but let me pay a penalty. Hey, if you want the third card from the bottom, you can get it, but it's going to cost you 3 extra resources to go up that high and get it. We've played a lot of games that have that, right?
Right.
The one on the very end is the cheapest. If you want the one on the other end, you're going to have to pay to get to it.
Yes.
Sort of deal. I wish I had something like that to make the entire tableau of technologies available to you every time you want to research one.
I agree. It's like, what am I even doing here? You know, I don't see any technologies I want. It's not part of that game, what I've been developing. As I move into Era 2, maybe the cards aren't in the right spot, hoping people will take them. So I guess in a way, you can spin a dice to put one in your hand with no intent of using it ever, but that may unlock something that someone else will grab that you wanted, right? So, I'm with you. I wish there was more opportunity to somehow get technologies. And I know they play tested and they ran through this multiple times with the game. Leave it to us to, we've played it a couple of times. And I'm sure they've thought of this and they tried it out probably, but it just seemed like it hampered some of our progress in the game.
Yes.
And you have 9 turns. So it's not like you have a lot of opportunity to adjust strategy or adjust the way you're going.
Especially after you've committed to the dice that you've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I talked about, you talked about drafting first but getting last is a risk, especially if you're drafting to get a card and somebody gets the card before you. And then it's like, well, what do I do with this die now?
Right.
And there were some times, you remember when I said for every color that you developed at least one technology, you'll get a point at the end of the round. Sometimes I'll say I didn't have a green. It's like, I just want a green so I can get a victory point at the end. Or let's say I see a green disaster is going to happen. I need a green in place to be able to damage. And if there's not one available to me, I am screwed. Mm-hmm. There's no way to get to one.
Because you're going to put something in the past, aren't you?
Yeah. And that sucks. So not only did I lose a victory point, but I also lost another card because a green one was never available to me because the way they were dealt out, right.
Yeah. I know this happened and we were kidding around, but sometimes it was like, you just did what I needed to do.
100%. Well, when there's only a choice of just 6 cards each turn, there's a good chance that after 3 other people have gone, they're going to take one of those cards of those 6 that you needed. Mm-hmm. We've played this multiple times and we kept thinking we're just going to get better and better. And every time we played, we literally clocked in about the same amount of time each time.
Mm-hmm. We did.
Was about 2 hours?
2 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it wasn't unenjoyable because it...
No.
It
was.
Yeah, but there were some frustrations. Mm-hmm. It's part of the game. I'm going to lose a card that I needed for production that will help me play a card if this were to occur. I didn't have as many opportunities to offset riot. Oh, and by the way, if someone is able to get certain personalities, that to me, I mean, we saw this twice, that drafting those dice first gives you the ability to possibly get to personalities that will allow you to produce every round a victory point.
That's another thing that we found. Victory points are hard to come by. And when somebody can jump a few victory points ahead, it's hard to make those up.
Mm-hmm. And you can't stop them.
I know. And so once they get that little bit of a lead, as long as they maintain that, it's hard to find something to catch them because they were smart. They drafted correctly, grabbed that personality. It made use of a good engine. Mm-hmm. It's just that once their engine was going, I couldn't find a way to create my own engine to close that gap at that point.
Right. I agree. I mean, would I play it again? Sure, because I like
Yes.
It's got elements I like. It's got drafting. It's got dice. It's got a unique way of using the dice. Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed that aspect of the game. I enjoyed being able to, think I had a strategy. It never worked. But I like having Hey, I got this. I'm doing well. Oh, crap. No, I'm not. He's over there generating. I think he's cheating. I know he's cheating. I mean, I'm sitting there going, Mark, how did you get all those freaking resources? I'm like, what are you doing? You're cheating somehow.
The flow of the game, I think it flows well. Again, it's easy to teach. It's just the AP and some of those little nitpicks I had about just getting the cards that you need, and you see them on the table and you can't get to them. It's like, if I just had that card and nobody would get the card before it, and you would have no way to get the card before it, to unlock it, to even get to it, that sort of deal.
Yeah, but you could, like I said, you could always spin a dice to unlock that card next by taking the one below it, right?
But then if you look around the table and go, oh, look, Tony has enough to buy the card that I want if I unlock it. And Tony goes, oh, thanks for unlocking that card for me. I will now take that card that you wanted.
Right. So that's the risk you take. And one thing I found is it seemed like we were all, hell bent on certain tracks. So the randomness of the cards coming out is pretty cool. But I wonder if there's any balance there. Probably not. But yeah, all in all, Nova Era, interesting game. It's got some very nice mechanics to it that I enjoy playing. There were some things that were frustrating to me, but hey, what game doesn't frustrate me now?
There's not very many.
Yeah.
So this is Nova Era, out now from CMON Games.
5-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
All right, we got to play this game called Top Tier by Amar Zamba, Dom Korzecki, Tyler Otushi. I know that's terrible, and I am apologizing. From publisher Indie Boards and Cards. Now, everybody is doing their tier list, their favorite tier list, Superior, A, B, C, D. If you haven't seen a tier list, you're living in a cave because they're everywhere. That's what you're doing here. Basically, there's going to be one person, and he is going to get a secret question that he will be ranking tiers. Everybody else is going to take the tier cards and write down some name. It's a name of a person, like Link or Boba Fett or Sherlock or Superman or Spider-Man.
Fictional, non-fictional.
Yeah, it could be any of that. Eisenhower, however you want to go. They're going to turn those all in to you, and you're going to look at them based on your thing, and you're going to rank them from superior to D, and you are going to then put these... Secretly, yes, key. Put them out on the cards, the numbers that you ranked them. Then you are going to show your criteria, and those people who gave you the names now have to match. Try to figure out how you tiered them. And you're going to get points based on how many you got correct. The one time I played it, Marty, outside of our group, we played it. If we ever score 8 correct, because there's 8 cards, we won the game. We can stop playing.
So can you give an example of a tier, of a question?
Of a question. Yeah. What was one of the questions? Someone who is most likely to keep a secret.
Okay, so then you've got these 8 random names these people wrote down that you secretly ranked yourself from S tier to E, and then everybody else tries to do it, and you hope they match.
Did you say E?
Does it go to D?
D.
Sorry.
D.
Sorry,
Yeah.
S to D. Yeah.
To D.
Sorry.
Yeah, so they're doing that. Then you show them the rank, and you celebrate. Yay, we got so many right, or oh, we suck.
So it's a light party game.
Yeah, plays, let's say 4 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were playing this with Bert, it was you, me, and Bert, 3. That sucked.
Yep. Need more people.
You've got to have more people, but you don't want a whole bunch. Now, I gave the rules of basically just give me some names, y'all. And it was fun because they just did. They wrote down names. I got all their aunts. They wrote down 3 of their aunt names. I didn't give them any context to it. Right?
That's funny. Yeah.
And then, then I got like what I did the first time we played. I got somebody who did a certain genre, like Spider-Man, Superman. There wasn't much difference between them, or it was hard to tell what they did. Mm-hmm. So the first game was a dud, but then they got into it. They enjoyed trying to come up with names.
Oh, okay. So did you find that once, did it create discussions of like, why did Tony rank these like this? Or no, this guy's better at doing this than what this other guy is. Like one of the ones I remember is who would make the best Batman sidekick,
right?
Of all these different people. So then I think the whole thing is supposed to promote discussions among the group and just have fun. Like the old who can beat who, Superman versus Hulk, sort of deal.
Right. And I mean, the names they call them the contenders for their rankings. So there was a lot of discussion. Also, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact of the diversity of the crowd. All right. Because when we three played, you, me, and Bert, we're all, I hate to say it, we're not like-minded, but we all are in the same arenas, right?
Sure.
Now I've got people who are not. So I had some people throw out various history people along with comic names.
Yep.
So that made it an interesting, and believe it or not, they actually we were able to get 8 out of 8 one time.
Wow. That's cool. That's really cool. So it seemed to be a pretty much of a hit with your group.
It was. They really enjoyed it. They liked the discussion that everybody was having outside of, well, who do you think and why do you think they were there? And then yelling at the person that says, that's the stupidest ranking ever. Why did you put them there?
It sounds like a good family holiday game.
Right.
Because I like how you taught the rules. It's just like, just give me names and we'll go from there. That was smart.
Yeah. And it was so much fun. I had no clue who Aunt Jan was, who Aunt Beatrice was, and who that was. So when I had to give them a ranking based on the tier of the question I had no way to rank them against other people. And everybody suddenly goes, oh, you need the ability to gauge people.
So now it sounds like if I ever teach this game, put down names of people that others would know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's cool. Party game from Indie Boards and Cards. I played it, but it sounds like I didn't play it with enough people. So I'd like to play it with more people. That'd be good if you had 8 total, because then everybody, or 9 basically, because everybody gets to write down a name and then one person will be doing the guessing. That'd be
absolutely
cool.
The only problem I see with that is there may be a lot more AP or argument during then. So I'm sure there's going to be a happy medium somewhere, but I agree with you.
Okay. That is Top Tier from Indie Boards and Cards.
5-minute initiative is complete.
Now, I know you've go over to Miniature Market, peruse what they got. I mean, you're browsing there. You're trying to see what all they've got, all the new stuff. You've signed up for their newsletter. Now, these ads are going to head you over to their YouTube channel as well, because not only are they previewing product, but they're also playing the product. Maybe you want to see, is this a game for me? And I'm tired of watching all these other YouTubers tell me about games. I want to see real life people who sell these games, play it, see what they think, get that unbiased thoughts. So be sure to subscribe to their Miniature Market YouTube channel. It will keep you from getting those ones like Marty told you about in the show, where he's like getting all this vague stuff. Now go watch a Miniature Market YouTube video, and now you'll be getting all these board game videos popping up, and not some strange one, not some weird one. Like I got one the other day that talked about how tanks in World War II were designed, and I'm like, where did this come from? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm digressing. Head over to miniaturemarket.com, get those games, get ready for the summer vacations. Be sure to have something for all those young children at your house ready to play. miniaturemarket.com.
I love music, so anytime I get a chance to play a music-themed game, I'm going to be anxious to try it. And this latest game, Tony, that you and I got to play is a game called Bebop. This is designed by Robert Hovakamian, and it is from Bite Wing Games. Now, Tony, here's the overview to see if this makes sense. All right, we're going to go to a park and we're going to watch some bands. So our board is actually a map of the park. And in this park, there's different stages around the area. And the park map is broken up into hex spaces. Tony, when you get to a park, you want to get the best seat, right? It's like, I want to go ahead. You know how it is when you go to the beach or to a show or something like that, and you're carrying in your seats and you're trying to plant where you want to sit to save for family and everything like that. That's exactly one of the things you're trying to do. You're bringing in chairs that you're trying to claim spots in front of a stage to watch the band. Now, once you get your seats, you got to decide, well, who's going to sit where? Each of the stages are featuring different musicians. Some are horn players, some keyboard players, some percussionists. And you're going to have dice that represent people that you're going to put into those seats for the goal of trying to get the area majority of the same sort of fans of your fans around a stage in order to score points. Tony, did I kind of capture the whole theme of what we're trying to do here?
You definitely gave it a theme. I'll give you that. I mean, from my standpoint is I'm placing a hexagon and I'm placing a colored dice to try to match symbols based on the symbols on the board.
Okay, yeah. So when you break it down to something very simple like that, but I will say that the player turns in this game are very simple. On your turn, you have two options. Everybody has hex-shaped tiles of their color. You can either place a tile on the board, which is called claiming a seat. You can take one of the die that you have in front of you, one of 3 dice that represents one of the 3 instruments and 5 different families. There's 5 different color die, basically. And you can place those in one of the seats that you've already placed on the board. And when you do that, you will have a chance to score, which we'll talk about in a bit. So the gameplay is simple. Either place a hex tile on the board or place a die, then draft a new one to take its place.
Simple operation. I was like, okay, how can this game create any AP? But it can. Anytime you get dice in games like this, sometimes your selection or choice may be limited. I did appreciate in this game where you said, when you place a seat, that you are able to re-roll a die to hopefully better what symbol you're going to try to match. I also enjoyed the randomness of putting the various instruments out on the board or the stages. With this game, I was like, okay, when we get to the scoring, I kind of got lost because there were multiple ways. Certain things had to be out there for you to score. And so I'm not sure where you wanted to go with this on the scoring, but I know one way, which is where I focused, which I think I failed miserably when we played this game. And that was if you place dice in a group, family, such that the color and symbols are all the same, you get victory points.
For every die that's in it, like adjacent to the one you just placed.
Yeah.
And here's what's cool is it doesn't matter if it's in somebody else's seat or not. Mm-hmm. It just has to be matching color die, even if it's somebody else had placed it there.
Right. And I was like, okay, so I need to be thinking about that as I'm placing out the die. Well, that's not where the scoring is. The scoring is actually getting enough people around the stage that gives you the ability then to look at it and say, oh, we're all here to listen to the piano player around this one particular stage. And hey, all these pianos are here. And if I place my piano dice here, then we will score that stage based on, I guess it was the majority.
Yes. Once a stage is surrounded, so once all the seats are filled around a stage, that will trigger a scoring. And like you said, each stage has different instruments, one of 3, that's placed out randomly at the beginning of the game. And so if the piano is up on the stage, you're going to count all the piano dice that are around it. Whoever owns the most of that dice that was placed gets that token off the board and gets victory points that start at 12 points for each instrument, but they go down each time. So the more times that the piano is claimed, the piano token is claimed, it's going to be less valuable over time.
And I think this is where I started getting myself confused with the family groupings of dice of all the same color of the same instrument, but they may not be around the stage. Therefore, does that count in the majority? And I started getting myself very flustered in this game with that.
Yeah, so this one thing you have to look at on the rules is that if there's a contiguous line of same color connected dice with the same instrument, it doesn't have to be exactly adjacent to the stage as long as a die is adjacent to another die the same color that is adjacent to the stage. You could strategically place your die 2 or 3 rows back, but as long as you can trace a path up to the stage, then you will get to count in the majority scoring.
Even if someone else's dice is there, but as long as their dice is the same color and instrument, then it does count. And that's where I was like, okay, I'm already jumping into some of the mechanics of the game because I think you've pretty well covered the rules of the game. Where strategy, I completely missed. It glossed over me. I was of the mindset of, you know what, maybe if I build out kind of like the longest road in Catan or Ticket to Ride. I was sitting there trying to build a long road of percussion instruments that to connect multiple stages so that when we scored, I would have this huge network.
That's correct. That's how you should do it.
Well, the problem was people were claiming stages. We were all doing our own. Your family was in one side of the park. My family was on the other side of the park. Bert and Mark were on their sides of the park. And we kind of were, they were gathering up around these little stages and scoring them before I could build my contiguous road. And I found that, he just scored 12 points. Then he scores 11. Then he scores 10. I'm like, I'm not going to recover from this.
Yeah. So Bert and I kind of did the same thing early on. There's different size stages. There's 3 stage spaces, 2 and 1. So the 3 space stages will have 1 of each instrument. And the 2 space stages, you just randomly put one of the instruments out there. They just can't be matching. And then the single stages get 1. So it's obviously easier to encircle one of the single instrument stages and quickly score fast. So that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to find the small stages, especially if 2 small stages were near each other with the same instrument. And then I could build a contiguous line between them, surround them, and then do that scoring.
Right.
So I think Bert and I were kind of in the same mindset. And he and I finished first and second. And I think that's why, because we got some of that early scoring.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I mean, and from a strategy standpoint, maybe I needed to put one of my seats over there with your family. Mm-hmm. Even though I don't like your music, I'll go over there. I need to be part of. If I had placed a different color die with the same symbol, I may not have scored the single points as much.
Right.
But it could help me with majority later.
Exactly. Yeah, that's important because you want to claim these tokens, because at the very end of the game, which triggers after everybody has placed every seat out on the board and put a die in it, then you're going to evaluate the board. Now, as you play, when light colored dice are put together like purple, when a group of 2 or more is placed out there, there's a little token to indicate what group is the largest purple group. And you track that as you play. So if somebody places a 4th die somewhere, then you'll move the token over there to represent the largest purple group is here. So you're going to do that for each of the 5 colors. That's important at the end because each of those groups are going to be evaluated, and whoever has the most instruments in that group will get to score. So for example, in that purple group, let's say I have the most piano dice sitting in my seats in the purple group. And if so, because I have the majority, I will score 1 point for every piano token I've claimed over the course of the game. That's resolved for each instrument in each family and then for every family.
Right. And that big road that I was trying to build is useless.
If it's not matching colors, yes, 100%.
But
or if it's not part of the largest family.
Yeah. But let's say the purple, I had all this percussion sitting in there and they were all the right color. The problem was I didn't claim enough percussion tokens to make it useful. And also those points at the end of the game weren't that much. Mm-mm. It's all in the scoring of surrounding the stage. And I think that's important for people when they play this game, that you need to figure out, how do I get part of the listening to help combat the other players?
So, yeah, I mean, it's a very simple game that plays up to 4 players, 45 to 60 minutes, which is spot on. We got 4 players in 60 minutes, no problem. It took longer because there was a little bit of AP, right? I mean, you're sitting at 6 dice that you can draft. After you place a die, there's a market in the middle for 6 die that you can draft, or you can just randomly pull one from the bag. There's like times I really wanted a purple, but there wasn't a purple in the market.
Mm-hmm.
So I go randomly to the bag, and if I didn't pull one, it's like, well, crap. So then you're with the dice you have left in front of you, the 3 that you have to place, then you're looking all over around these stages on the board. It's where can I plop a seat real quick to claim something? Now, there are some special seats that can do things like bump somebody else's seat out of the way, or allow you to place 2 seats at once, or allow you to place a seat and immediately put a die in it. Those are just special seats that each person has one of. That does give a little twist as you're playing the game. But yeah, overall, this is very much a lightweight family game. I think you do just have to grok how the scoring happens. Whether it's when you place the die and you score based in groups and then scoring around the stage. I think that's the part that's probably the best to show examples as you teach so people will understand it.
Yeah, and I was just missing the complete strategy behind it. I did like the dice mitigation of having bad instruments, percussions, piano, trumpet. If I needed my yellow to actually be a percussion, I could roll. I could roll my dice and see if I got a drum set. I like that. I like that you weren't stuck, But I also like the fact that they limited, hey, you can only hold 3 seats. If you cannot hold any more than 3 seats on the ground, you have to then assign someone. That I think was very key, that you you can only put out 3 hexagons that are empty.
Yeah, I like that too. So you can't claim a bunch of seats, then fill it with dice.
Yeah, nothing pisses me more than people blocking off chairs and on the cruise ship, putting their towels there and they don't show up for 4 hours. I'm going to throw your freaking towel in the bin and move on, people. Or you put
That's
your
why I
chairs.
was trying to do the theme of, those people who basically bring out hands full of chairs and then try to reserve them. It's like, no, somebody's going to sit there. It's like, sorry, dude, they're not here. Move your chair.
We try to bring out the positives in all these games. I will say of all these dice games we've played lately, this was not my fave. That's just my take from this. And, I wasn't as engaged. There was something, even though you tried to get that theme out there, I don't know. It just kind of glossed over. I kind of glossed over it. I was looking for, the game ends after I fill up all my seats. Well, how quickly can I do that?
Right.
In that, because especially when I felt like it was a runaway leader because you and Bert were surrounding the stage. And I was like, okay, obviously I have the wrong strategy. Can we reset this board? Because this is not working. By the way, she bop. And when you say bebop, I always think of Cyndi Lauper, that whole night long. Every time you kept saying bebop, there's a song. Oh, Cyndi Lauper, she bop.
Do you know what the style of music of bebop is?
No.
Okay. So it's a style of music that was like in the 50s and 60s, uses a lot of brass and stuff. I became a big fan of it probably about 5 or 6 years ago. Just every once in a while, or go on YouTube and show you bebop music. I think it's something that you'll like. If you like big bandish style music of that style of jazz, check out bebop music. And, if you're into anime, Cowboy Bebop, the soundtrack of that is actually bebop style music.
Okay. Well, that's all I got for this one. Anything else on your side?
Yeah. So I will say, compared to the other game that we played in this episode, the dice game, this is definitely on the lighter side. So if you're looking for something a little bit heavier, this probably isn't it. But if you're looking for something for maybe family or friends that only plays in 45 to 60 minutes, and just make sure they understand the scoring, it is very simple. Place a seat on the board or place a die, and it's really that straightforward. So this is Bebop. It's got a really nice production, nice dice. It comes with 2 maps. It's double-sided, so you could play with different setups each time. There's a lot of variability to it, so it will not be the same every single time. This is from Bitewing Games. If you play it, let us know what you think.
This episode is brought to you by Temptations Cat Treats. Your cat will come running for the perfectly irresistible Temptations Creamy Puree and Temptations Lickable Spoon Cat Treats. The best time to feed lickable cat treats to your cat is anytime. Feed by hand for a playful moment, in a bowl for a creamy treat, or as a topper to make mealtime fun. Visit TemptationsTreats.com to learn more.
Five-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
Architects of Amytis, designed by Jeremy Ducret, Romeric Goyener, published by, there's no way, y'all, La Botte de Joux. I'm going to France in about 6 months. I better get better at this. This is a fun, cute 2-player game. You're playing tic-tac-toe.
I guess kind of, yeah.
Yeah, you are. Real quick, on your turn, you place one of your architects out onto the main board to claim a tile. And these tiles have various types of architecture to them. Gardens, palaces, walls, and, I believe there were 8 of them in total.
There were 6 of them. Perfect.
6? You sure? All right.
Gardens, markets, walls, palaces, residences, and theaters.
Okay. Each of them has a special ability that when you place them on your board, you could potentially get some points. You may be able to take an additional card that's in the market that allows you to score other victory points at the end of the game. The key to this game, though, is making sure that you are putting your tiles on the board to achieve main in-game scoring objectives before someone else. But the real kicker is you are playing tic-tac-toe. You are trying to get 3 in a row so that you can then place that special tile out on the in-game scoring board. And you want to block someone, but that may be detrimental to what you actually want to achieve. Now, these tiles all have different colors on them that equate to what could be scoring bonuses of, if you match this pattern with these colors, you're going to get it. So there's multiple things going on with these tiles. Love the game. Absolutely love the game. Now, Marty's going to tell you his rules.
Just a 3x3 grid that's in the middle of the table. So you got 9 tiles that you can choose from. You can't choose a tile that already has a worker on it. So if Tony has a worker on it, or I do, can't take it that round. So I put a worker, pick up a tile. Now you said, I can't tell where you say end game or IN game. The cards that you can collect over time are IN game scoring. If you can get certain color patterns on your own board after you place a tile, you get to score those points immediately. But like you said, if you can get a tic-tac-toe or a tic-tac-toe out there, you can immediately take one of your tokens and put it on another scoring board that scores end game points for something like, hey, you're going to get certain number of points for every spot on your board that only has a stack of tiles, 1 tall or 2 tall or 3 tall. Because as you take tiles onto your board, they can stack up over time. And you probably want to do this because it's okay if you cover up previous things, because maybe what you just cover up will give you more victory points. Like, for example, the walls is very easy. When you place a wall, you're going to get 2 points per wall that's visible on the outer edge of your board. So obviously you're going to want to put walls on the edge. Residences, you're going to gain 1 point per different building that's visible on your board. So each of these tiles score differently, which will depend on which one you want to get. Now, at the beginning of your turn, if you have placed 3 in a row, you immediately take those back into your pool, or if you've placed 4 workers, they come back. Yes, there are 4 workers that you can place totally on the board, but that's how you get your workers back. So there is, Tony, some hate drafting going on potentially, because I know that when I played you in like the second game, you had like walls galore, and it's like, I am not going to let you get another wall. Or like you said, I'll purposely block your 3 in a row because I don't want to get your score. I don't want your scoring tokens going out on the board, which will get you additional points at the end of the game.
Right. And then on the side, even though you're hate drafting, you're also sitting there hate drafting yourself as well, because you know what your in-game scores are, but you've got these the other cards that give you victory points right then or at the end as well by matching the color patterns. And you really can mess yourself up. So you've got to say, oh man, I really need to strategically place this. And there's the piece I need. And then you go out and put your architect on. You're like, when is he going to pull those backs? Because I know the one underneath it is the exact one I'm going to need. Can I wait that long, or do I need to now shift my patterns?
Yep.
Great game.
And we played it like right back to back because the setup is nothing. It's like literally you just mix all the tiles up and then you stack in tiles of 5 again back on the board. And the game ends as soon as 2 stacks of tiles on the main board are gone. As soon as that happens, you're going to take an even number of turns and the game stops. So that's another strategic thing, Tony. If I feel like I'm in the lead, I may keep drafting from a particular stack to try to empty that and end the game.
So for me, this game is a must-buy to keep in the collection for 2 players. It was just that much fun. I know we don't say a lot of must-buys around here, but I really like this game. I know Donna loves tile playing games, so I can't wait to get her a take on it. And I also feel like it moves so fast.
And the teach is nothing. You place a worker and you pick the tile and you score it. So the thing is learning how the tiles score. But Tony, I love there's 2 sides to the tiles too, an A version and a B version. And we played the B version and those score just a tad differently. In fact, the B version is a little bit tougher to score. So you have kind of an easier mode of scoring and then a more difficult. So yes, this game is Architects of Amytis. I also too think it's a must buy, small box, 2-player game, 30 minutes, tile draft, tile placement. It's a good one.
5-minute initiative is complete.
Not that I'm keeping up with it, but March Madness is still going on. I mean, our men's team who made the Final Four last year didn't even make the ACC tournament, and our women who was supposed to do really good in March Madness got knocked out. But anyway,
that was a good game.
It's still going on.
That was a good game.
It was a good game. That was my only hope. You're our last hope. But anyway, Toppers LLC still has March Madness going on and will into April. And what they're going to do is they have a bunch of overstock clearance items, including topper packages, and there's 15% off all accessories. And again, that's all accessories, including leg kits and dining covers for your topper packages. So maybe you buy one of the overstock clearance toppers and then get 15% off the accessories for that topper. Plus, all the mats are 15% off. You know, we rave on and on about those mats. We love those. So now is a good time to head over to GameToppersLLC.com for the March Madness sale for clearance of overstock items, 15% off all accessories. Go check it out now.
Well, we're recording on a Sunday night, and that means Marty went to a Star Wars Unlimited event. I hate that I live so far away now. You know, it's an hour and a half over there.
I wish you would come sometime.
I know.
Just come once. Dude, there were 18 people there today.
That's awesome.
Last week it was 19. This week is 18. There has become a strong Star Wars Unlimited community. The problem is everybody's there to win. And bringing it, I was like, I made a deck for fun. It was kind of a theme deck to see if it would work. It did not. Well, here's the thing. I was so close. I can tweak it now. Here's the thing. I was close to winning, going 2-1. I ended up 0-3, but it was that close to where I was just this far from getting the right synergy between some of my cards and not drawing a card I desperately needed in the last game to take care of my opponent. Oh my gosh, they had an annoying card in play that was just devastating me. And I have 3 copies of a card in my deck to take care of that card. And in the 2 games I played her and lost, I never drew that card once. And I even mulliganed for it. Knowing it was coming, I mulliganed to try to get it in my hand, to keep it in my hand, and I never drew it.
Okay, now I'm interested. What are they? What cards were they?
It's a real simple one. It's called Confiscate. It's get rid of an upgrade. She had a real powerful upgrade that she put on one of her cards that I just needed desperately to get rid of. For the cost of 1, I could just go get rid of that. Mm-hmm. Easy peasy. And just never got on it. She had a really cool deck. But here's the cool thing. Everybody is so nice, man.
Right.
So there were some cards I were missing. And I put in the Discord channel, does anybody have any of these cards they want to trade? 2 people came up and said, Marty, I heard you need some of these cards. You need these? I went, oh man, they were rares. I said, thank you. How much do I owe you? He went, nothing, man. They're like $1.25 a piece. Don't worry about it. So I gave me like 6 rares right on the spot for free. And I thought, this is so cool. This is what makes lifestyle games fun. Mm-hmm. When you see the same people every week and people are nice and just want to help each other out. It's cool.
That's right. Or were they over there in the corner saying, God, we need to take pity on this dude?
There's probably a lot of that too. You know, he goes 0-3 every week.
Yeah. Does this old man even know how to play games? What's going on here?
Oh, it's just I just don't get to play enough is the problem. I just don't get to play enough because I'm sitting there and the guy's like, yeah, I play tested this deck like 6 times, so I think it's good to go. And I'm sitting there sleeving my deck. Yeah, this is the first time I've ever played it. So,
are they testing them online?
No, they just play with each other. A lot of them are really good friends. I do know one guy that does test them online. Okay. There is a site online you can go play test decks. And maybe I need to do that. You know, there's Magic Arena, so maybe I just need to hop online and build some decks and just play like that. Maybe I'll give that a shot and see how that works. But again, mine was a kind of a gimmick deck. It was never meant to be a top tier or anything like that. But anyway.
So did you have any light speed in there, the new expansion?
Oh, it was mainly jump to light speed. I think that's why so many people were playing because it's such a good set. I don't know if you've opened your box yet, but there's some really cool cards and really fun mechanics in that one.
No, I have not. Matter of fact, I even forgot that you gave it to me recently. Mm-hmm. So I need to get that out there on the table.
I have opened and sorted.
Wow. Did you already order your binder for him?
I have the binder.
Look at you. I need to get over
I had an extra one. Okay. Last time I ordered multiple.
I need to get on Miniature Market and do that. Need to get over there on Miniature Market.
You do. But I mean, I know there's going to be one next Sunday. So if you're free one Sunday, let me know. Okay. And we'll go over there. It'll be a blast. They play at 2:00. If it's constructed, it goes by quick because you only play 3 rounds. Mm-hmm. So you're out. At the latest, you're out at 5, which is nice.
You know, I have all day. Restrictions on my license about driving in the dark. I'm kidding. I do.
That's funny. Also, speaking of card games, I hadn't got a chance to play with you yet, but I really wanted to show you the demo decks I've got of Hub World Avalon.
Oh, yeah. I want to play that, yeah.
Earthborn Rangers, a new LCG, which feels like Netrunner. I've got to play one game at work with the guy I play Arkham Horror with. I've got them in my bag. So maybe this Thursday, if you get there early enough, we'll give that a shot. I kind of gave you a quick overview of the game. We'll try it out.
I will look at that calendar and try to block a little time so I can get out of work early. Yes, that's the way it can go.
And of course, I'll always meet for lunch anytime. Go ahead. What?
I know you always meet for lunch, but yeah, one day I'll get back to that fine schedule. All right, with that, I got nothing else. You got anything else to share?
Did you go buy Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition?
I did not buy Definitive Edition. I already have it.
But buy the Definitive Edition.
What makes it so definitive?
Because it's better graphics and it's still supported and it's getting new factions. I forgot how deep that game was. That's a stinking good RTS.
But I remember, see, here's my problem. This is the one that's had the trebuchets and all that in it, right?
Yes.
I remember playing that and I remember slogging through that. So I'm sitting there going, do I really want
that's fine.
to?
No, that's fine.
Huh?
That's fine. Let me know when you want to crank up Starcraft Remastered. I'll do that.
Okay, is that the one where we tried to play against the computer and it wiped us out because our machines are so powerful?
So powerful.
Yeah, the AI or the computer sitting there. I mean,
who we're playing against is so powerful. Yeah, it's like we used to be good at this game. It just rolled us. That was funny.
We got to slow this bad boy down.
Oh yeah, I think we used to play. God, we played co-op all the time, and basically would play against. We play against one easy, then one medium, then two easy, then one easy, one medium, and try to be able to beat two medium. I think was kind of the goal. But yeah. Anyway, I'll play anything you want. You just let me know when.
All right, I'll have to do that. All right, dude. Well, with that, I am going to keep rolling dice,
and I'm going to keep taking the names. Hey y'all, thanks for listening. Come over to our Discord channel. Let us know, did you watch Lawrence Welk and Hee Haw? And if you did, what kind of memories do you have of that show? Remember to follow us on social media at Dyson Names. We're kind of everywhere. And if you're not a member of our Discord, you just go to our website, rolldicetakenames.com, click the link. And remember, that's where we do all our contests also.
You can hold me to it. I promise you, the next song I use will be more relevant.
I had better have heard of it and not have to look it up anywhere.
Done.
Hey there, Hugh from Podderation here, and if you like today's show, why not have a listen to the All Things Nintendo podcast? Hosted by Brian Shea, former Director and Game Informer and lifelong games journalist, the show explores the ins and outs of gaming's oldest company and one of its biggest, featuring interviews, featuring reviews, featuring everything you want to know about the world of Nintendo. If you'd like to learn more, check out our website at podderation.com.